In the fast-paced, high-stakes world of celebrity families, public perception often tells only part of the story. What we see on red carpets, Instagram posts, and reality TV is often a polished version of life, a highlight reel designed to inspire admiration or envy. But behind closed doors, there are unfiltered moments that don't make it into the carefully curated feeds. That's why, when whispers began to circulate about a brutal altercation between Tiny, the Grammy-winning singer, songwriter, and reality TV star, and the woman believed to be King Harris' baby mama, it immediately captured the attention of fans, gossip bloggers, and entertainment news outlets. This wasn't a vague disagreement or harmless shade thrown on social media. According to multiple accounts, this was a confrontation that turned heated, loud, and physical, revealing cracks in the public image of one of hip-hop's most famous families. The Harris family has weathered plenty of public storms before, but this one feels different because it involves deep personal tensions, questions of respect, and the complicated emotions that arise when family loyalties collide with the messy realities of relationships. To understand why this fight became so explosive, it's important to look back at the dynamics between Tiny and King Harris' baby mama over the past several months, or, depending on who you ask, the past couple of years. Tiny, born Tamika Cottle, has long been a central figure in the Harris household, both as a mother and as a protective matriarch. She's the type of person who will go to great lengths to defend her children, but she's also unafraid to call them out or hold the people around them accountable. This strong, no-nonsense personality has served her well in the entertainment industry, but it can also create friction when others feel she's being too direct or overstepping her role. King Harris, the young and outspoken son of T.I. and Tiny, has never shied away from living his life in the spotlight. Whether he's making headlines for his music, his social media antics, or his sometimes controversial statements, King has been a fixture in hip-hop media for years now, even before fully establishing himself as an artist. His alleged baby mama, a young woman who has been tied to him in the public eye through rumors, social media posts, and unverified claims, has also become part of that spotlight, whether she wanted it or not. From the outside, there were hints that not everything between Tiny and King's baby mama was smooth sailing. Fans noted the occasional passive-aggressive social media post, subtle shade in interviews, and a certain tension whenever the two were seen in the same space. Sources close to the family suggest that while Tiny initially tried to be supportive and welcoming, underlying disagreements about King's decisions, his responsibilities as a young father, and the role his partner played in his life gradually built a wall between the two women. This wasn't an overnight blow-up. It was the culmination of months of unspoken grievances, subtle disrespect, and repeated clashes over who had the final say when it came to King's personal affairs. The fight reportedly took place during what should have been a relatively peaceful, private family event, the kind of gathering that's meant to bring people together rather than drive them apart. However, those who were present claim the atmosphere was already tense from the moment the baby mama arrived. Tiny, according to witnesses, was visibly cold in her demeanor, while the baby mama seemed equally unwilling to play nice for the sake of appearances. What happened next unfolded quickly. At first, the two kept their distance, exchanging only brief and curt interactions. But as the gathering went on, their paths inevitably crossed. What began as a conversation, or, as some say, an exchange of pointed remarks, escalated almost instantly. The tone turned sharp, with both women speaking over each other, neither willing to back down. Accusations began to fly, and the disagreement quickly moved beyond the original topic, pulling in old grievances, personal slights, and deep-seated resentment that had been brewing for months. Several sources claim that Tiny criticized the baby mama's behavior and decisions, especially as they related to King, his image, and his future. The baby mama, in turn, felt that Tiny was undermining her, belittling her role, and trying to control a situation that wasn't hers to manage. The argument grew louder, drawing the attention of everyone in the room, until it reached a breaking point. Witnesses say the two women got in each other's faces, and what had been a verbal clash crossed into physical territory. There are conflicting accounts of exactly what happened, but multiple sources describe shoving, grabbing, and an overall struggle that required intervention from others present to break apart. While no serious injuries were reported, the emotional impact was undeniable. While some people might chalk this up to just another celebrity fight, those close to the Harris family insist the roots of this conflict run much deeper. At its core, this wasn't just about one disagreement. It was about respect, or the lack thereof, and the complicated web of emotions that come into play when family, relationships, and public perception collide. Tiny has a long-standing reputation for fiercely protecting her children, and that includes stepping in when she feels someone in their lives isn't acting in their best interest. In this case, it seems she had strong opinions about how King's situation with his alleged child and partner was being handled, and she wasn't shy about voicing them. On the other hand, the baby mama reportedly felt that she was being unfairly judged, scrutinized, and talked down to. From her perspective, she had every right to defend her position and set boundaries with Tiny, no matter how influential or respected she might be. Both women have strong personalities, and when you combine that with months of built-up tension, it's almost inevitable that a breaking point would come sooner or later. It's also worth noting the role of social media in amplifying this situation. Over the months leading up to the fight, both women had made posts that fans interpreted as subtle digs toward the other. Even if those posts weren't directly aimed at each other, the perception alone added fuel to the fire. In a world where every like, comment, or cryptic quote gets dissected, these small moments created a running undercurrent of tension that eventually erupted in full view of the family. Following the altercation, both Tiny and the baby mama reportedly retreated from direct public comment about what happened. Neither has confirmed the details of the fight, but those close to them, as well as a few gossip blogs, have filled in the blanks with insider accounts. Meanwhile, social media has been anything but quiet. Several cryptic posts have appeared from people believed to be connected to the situation, speaking about betrayal, fake smiles, and people who don't know their place. These posts, while not naming names, have only fueled speculation and divided fans into opposing camps. However, according to multiple sources claiming inside knowledge, the situation reached a breaking point when T.I. allegedly discovered that valuable property of his had gone missing. Property he believes was taken directly or indirectly by King's baby mama. While the exact nature of the items has not been confirmed, speculation ranges from expensive jewelry to designer goods, and even cash reserves that were supposedly kept in a private location. The alleged incident reportedly took place in a setting where the baby mama had access, whether through a visit, a stay, or being in proximity due to family events. T.I., known for his keen sense of control over his personal and business affairs, was said to be furious upon realizing the loss. Sources claim that initial attempts to resolve the matter privately did not go well. There were discussions, accusations, and denials, but ultimately, the situation did not reach a peaceful resolution. This was when, according to insiders, T.I. began seriously considering the legal route. For a man who has always projected an image of calculated power and strategic moves, taking the matter to court is not just about recovering what was allegedly taken. It's about sending a clear message that no one, even someone tied to the family by personal relationships, is above accountability. From a legal perspective, pursuing a case against someone connected to your family can be a delicate and risky decision. It risks fracturing relationships permanently, and it invites public scrutiny into what might otherwise be a private dispute. But for T.I., this might be about more than just the missing property. It could be about principle. T.I. has built his career not only on his music, but also on his image as a businessman and patriarch. To him, being wronged in this way, if the allegations are true, could represent a betrayal that can't simply be smoothed over. In the world of celebrity, letting something like this slide could also set a dangerous precedent. Others might interpret leniency as weakness, which could encourage further boundary-crossing behavior. There's also the public image factor. T.I. has faced his share of controversies over the years, but he has also managed to maintain a sense of authority and self-respect in the public eye. Allowing someone within his inner circle to allegedly take advantage of him without consequences could tarnish that image. Filing a case not only seeks justice, but also reinforces the perception that he is a man who protects what's his, no matter who is involved. Perhaps the most complex element of this developing situation is the position of King Harris himself. As the son of T.I. and the father, allegedly, of the baby mama's child, King is caught between two worlds: loyalty to his father and loyalty to the mother of his child. Publicly, King has not made any definitive statements about the matter, but those close to the family believe the tension is weighing heavily on him. If the case does move forward, King could be forced to navigate an incredibly uncomfortable position, possibly even being asked to testify or provide information that could help or hurt either side. This kind of familial conflict is challenging under any circumstances, but when it unfolds under the bright glare of public attention, the emotional stakes skyrocket. Some fans speculate that this could also impact King's career. As a rising figure in music and entertainment, being associated with such a public dispute could either fuel his notoriety or damage his reputation, depending on how he handles the situation. For now, he remains silent, but the longer the silence stretches, the more people wonder where his true loyalties lie. As with any story involving the Harris family, public opinion has been divided. Some fans are firmly in Ty's corner, arguing that he has every right to protect his property and take action against anyone who disrespects his boundaries, family ties or not. They see this as a straightforward matter of right and wrong, where blood or personal relationships should not shield someone from accountability. Others, however, feel the situation should be handled privately without involving the courts. They argue that taking legal action against someone so closely connected to the family could create long-lasting rifts that outweigh the value of whatever was allegedly taken. These fans believe that once the court system gets involved, reconciliation becomes nearly impossible. Then there's the more skeptical crowd, those who question whether the robbery allegations are entirely accurate or whether they're being exaggerated as part of a larger power struggle between T.I. and the baby mama. In the world of celebrity, where image management and strategic leaks are part of the game, some fans are hesitant to take any claim at face value. If T.I. does move forward with filing a case, the legal implications could be significant. Depending on the value of the items allegedly taken, the case could involve serious criminal charges, anything from theft to burglary, depending on how the events are framed. There could also be civil claims for damages, which might seek to recover the monetary value of the property plus additional compensation for emotional distress or reputational harm. Some have come to Tiny's defense, arguing that as a mother, she has every right to be vocal and protective when it comes to her children's lives. They see her as a woman standing up for her family and refusing to tolerate what she views as disrespect. Others, however, believe the baby mama's side of the story, that she's been unfairly targeted and painted in a negative light simply for trying to live her life and make her own choices. The fight has also reignited public interest in King's life and relationships, with fans digging up old clips, interviews, and posts in an attempt to piece together the timeline and understand how things got so bad. For a family that has spent years managing their public image through music, reality TV, and calculated media appearances, this kind of raw, unfiltered moment is a double-edged sword. It keeps them in the headlines, but not in the way they would necessarily want. Perhaps the most difficult position in all of this belongs to King Harris himself. As the son at the center of the conflict, he's faced with the unenviable task of balancing loyalty to his mother with loyalty to the mother of his alleged child. Those close to King say he has been trying to keep the peace in the days following the incident, but it's clear the situation has created an emotional minefield for him. King's career is still in its early stages, and while controversy can sometimes boost a young artist's profile, this particular kind of attention is tricky. The focus isn't on his music or his ambitions. It's on his personal life, his family, and a fight he didn't instigate but can't avoid being associated with. Fans are watching closely to see how he navigates the fallout, and whether he'll eventually address it publicly or try to let it blow over. In many ways, this story is about more than just two women getting into a fight. It's about the unique pressures of being part of a celebrity family where every move is watched, every relationship is analyzed, and every disagreement risks becoming a public spectacle. The Harris family has long been admired for their resilience, their unity, and their ability to turn personal challenges into teachable moments. But this situation is a reminder that even the strongest families can struggle with the same issues as anyone else. Clashing personalities, misunderstandings, and the difficulty of balancing love with boundaries. What makes it all the more complicated is that, in the world of celebrity, personal conflicts don't stay personal for long. Whether through leaked accounts, social media hints, or outright statements, the public inevitably becomes part of the story. And once that happens, the narrative can take on a life of its own, shaped by gossip blogs, fan theories, and media framing rather than the people directly involved. As of now, there's no clear sign of reconciliation between Tiny and King Harris' baby mama. Both appear to be keeping their distance, at least in public, while the family as a whole seems intent on preventing further incidents from spilling out into the open. Whether this fight will lead to a permanent rift or eventually be smoothed over is anyone's guess, but the damage, both emotional and reputational, has already been done. For the fans, the fascination lies in seeing how this high-profile family navigates such an openly messy moment. Will they address it on social media? Will it become a storyline on reality TV? Or will they choose to handle it quietly and hope that public interest eventually fades? Whatever happens, the Harris family is once again at the center of a storm, and the world is watching to see if they can weather it without further cracks appearing in their carefully built image.